right. I think we are set. I just want to double check this. Sorry, people, we were having some technical difficulties here, and we are getting things all set up. Just making sure we're streaming. So my name is Dr. Brenda Trudell with New Beginnings Chiropractic, and I am here with Terry Haag, and we are doing the second connection during quarantine video here, webinar, and we're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to be turning this around, and she's going to be doing the demo for the Seva, the Acupressure, and the Brain Gym. So again, just kind of reiterate the reason I started doing these. The series was to help people have tools that they could use to kind of get through this stressful period of time. A lot of these things are things that you can use like right in the moment to kind of help decrease the stress response. Some of the things are going to be things that you can do over time to kind of build up a practice to help adapt to and mediate some of the stressors that are happening. A lot of these are going to be things that are useful for children too. And Terry was a school nurse for a long time and taught these to a lot of different teachers and educators, a lot of kids with special needs and different types of emotional things. And so this is definitely something that's applicable in this present situation. So I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to have Terry just kind of briefly introduce herself, explain a little bit about the techniques that she's going to be showing us, and then we're going to go from there. So let's make sure that we can see her in here. I can back this up a little bit.
I think that's good. And we're 10 feet away from each other.
All right, perfect. So go ahead and introduce yourself and go from there.
So hi, my name is Terry Haag, and I work with Brenda. It's been a lovely relationship for, I don't know, 12 years, I think, for sure. And we've done classes together, etc. So as Brenda mentioned in my bio, I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 46 years. I spent a long time being a psychiatric nurse, hospice, delivery, outpatient, inpatient, and school nursing. So as a result, I kind of put together and got interested in really giving people quick and self-empowering tools that you don't necessarily always have to go. I mean, I have a private practice. I love having people on the table doing acupressure, doing even what I'm going to be showing you now. And it's wonderful to have that done to you, but it's also things that you can do for yourself. I'm very excited because I'm starting with the Seva. Seva means compassionate service in Sanskrit. The history of Seva, and I'm showing this card, and I will put it up closer later. But what I'm going to show you, and it's interesting because I was on a conference call with the people who came up with the 16-step protocol today. And it was put together out of acupressure points. Soul lightning acupressure is the acupressure I do, not needles pressure. And 9/11, a group of these practitioners and professors got together after 9/11 because they had a big office practice near the Twin Towers. They got together, they worked for 24 hours nonstop together, came up with this 15-step protocol out of 36 possible pressure points to be used at the base of the 9/11 of the towers every day when rescue workers would be coming in and families would be coming in. They would do this 20-minute protocol on these people as they came in under the tent. And it was palpable, the calming it had on people. I mean, there's no way to study this, but I'm sure they stopped a lot of people from having horrible post-traumatic stress. I mean, they still might have had some, but it wasn't as horrible. So it's just totally applicable that we are doing this right now. I have also taught this to children. I have also taught this in Creole and in French in Haiti. So this transcends all languages. You have medicine in your fingertips, basically. That's what we say. So it is showing you the points to really help out. Then, as Brenda also said, we'll end with some brain gym, really quick, fast points, and helpful at home for the kids working at home on their homework, for parents working on, the internet all day, just various things to do that are kind of fast. So first we'll start with the Seva protocol. It'll take about 20 minutes. I am ecstatic that one of my clients texted me today. She has fibromyalgia. She does Seva every day. And I taught her this 2 years ago. I rarely see her anymore because her pain is so much better. But her husband has anxiety. Her daughter, who's gone to college, has anxiety. Everybody's at home now. So she texted me right after 4 of them got done doing Seva together in the house. So whether you do this alone, you've done it for the house because you've shifted the energy, or whether you do it as a group, okay? And again, you could just take part of it if you want it, or you're taking the whole thing. So I'm gonna lead us through. I will, as best I can, and Brenda can maybe even help me sometimes.
Yeah.
You're farther away from me so you can see all of me, but also I'm going to be talking about the various places you're going to have your fingertips. So when you're touching yourself through this, because it's self-acupressure, you're going to be making a fulcrum, we call it, like this with your fingers. And 3 fingers together is perfect. Pressure does not mean you rest as much pressure as any part of your body would like. What you will find if you start doing this on a regular basis, and I will tell you, I'm doing this daily at this point. I'm a retired nurse. There was a part of me feeling guilty that I wasn't on the front line. There's another part of me knowing that's not where I'm supposed to be now. I'm supposed to be doing this sort of grounding work on a regular basis and sharing this kind of thing with you so that we can be the stabilizing force for whatever. This is great for the nervous system, which then means it's great for the immune system. So pass this on to anyone you need to. All right, so fulcrums. And our first thing is, and I'm gonna say an affirmation with each of these because it's just nice. We are gonna stay in each of these positions for probably about 3 or 4 breaths, okay? Now, if you get somewhere and it's feeling really good, because this is taped, so you can always go back and watch it again. If you get somewhere and it's feeling really good, don't try to rush along. You can linger there a little bit. And so I'll kind of pace us through. When you're doing this alone, I would suggest to really get your body acclimated to reacting to you, because your body might just say, who the heck are you? You don't pay any attention to me otherwise. Who's this knocking on my door? So it may take a while for you to really start reacting and feel. Some people will feel a pulsation in their fingertips, or they'll feel their body just really settling. Other people will just, their mind settles. So however it is for you, it's working. But it really does take at least, 3, 4, 5, 6 breathing in and out slowly to allow your body to know, oh, she's here, he's here, I can settle, okay? Kids might go a lot faster, but guess what? They can. So the first thing we're going to do is reach toward our toes and just bend forward. As if you have problems with your back or whatever, it isn't how far you go with any of this. It's the intention of where you're going. So just reach forward toward your feet with a leg stretch. You can do this lying down, obviously. You can do this sitting on a chair. So as we stretch out our body, we are coming fully into the moment. Take those deep breaths. Let your busy, busy mind know that you'll be back. You'll be back for sure in a half hour. Just let the thoughts bubble up and float as we stretch out our back. You might be wondering, why did they decide where the fingertips should go? It's all a study of 5 elements acupressure. It's very ancient. Meridians are the energy flows in our body, our nerves, our capillaries, blood vessels, our lymph drainage. So wherever our fingertips are going is where all of these are closer to the surface. So we can access them with our fingertips better. And each of them are related to organs in our body, and where the organs then connect, and that flow goes on, not the organs connecting, but the flow from like the stomach to the intestines and etc. All the different points. So The next one is the dorsal hinge. So this one is a little different. You can use this fulcrum or you can make two fists. And I'm going to show you here and then I'm going to sit down. You're going to go above your waist and below your lowest ribs on either side of your spine. And I'm going to sit. I'm going to lean back. This is a really juicy spot. You can use tennis balls and a sock to put behind you. Yeah, settle down and breathe. Rest back and allow yourself to be supported. Rest back and allow yourself to feel supported. This is also just great for pain in the lower and upper back. And right now, you know, our backs, especially our lower back, supports us. And if we're worried about money and you have a little lower backache, it's going to be worse. So right now, allow yourself to rest and feel supported. The next spot we're going to is going to be right behind our knees, where you bend your knee. You're going to go right behind the knee in the bend with that fulcrum with your fingers. This is a great one to help release any tension in all of your joints, your hips, your knees, your ankles. I did this one for months before I would stay there long enough to really feel it. I really appreciate it now. Allow yourself to soften and relax. Taking those nice slow breaths. Telling your brain to sit back in the easy chair. Allow the thoughts to come through and drift. Allow yourself to soften and relax. A couple more breaths. The next one is called excess baggage. It's aptly named. We're going to take our hands. You might do one at a time. You could do this or you can do this, but you are going to have your fingertips on the big muscle, the trapezius, your shoulder muscle. You're not pushing into your neck. You're not on your neck. You're right next to your neck. On both sides, that big muscle, you can feel it. This is one that sometimes you want to put your hands a little heavier. It's certainly up to you, not making it hurt. It is called excess baggage because in every culture, for every year that we've been existing on Earth, people have carried loads on their back, whether they're virtual or whether they're physical. For now, for right this second, there is nothing you need to make a decision about. For the next couple breaths, there is nothing you need to make a decision about.
can feel it melting away.
I know. I did this with a group of breast cancer survivors, and people sobbed. They've been carrying it for so long. So again, if you're working from home and you're on a computer, etc., or just anything before bed, you're having a hard time sleeping, you can do this one all by itself. Good for headaches. And from here, we come down our arms, giving your arms a squeeze on both sides. Do it twice here. Okay. And then we're going to come to this point. Your elbow creases. So your elbow creases. And you're going to come right at the edge of the crease before the bony part of the elbow. So there's this little soft spot at the edge of the crease and before the bone. And you can do both sides at once. Now, these are immune system points. These are major immune system points. Large intestine and lung are both huge parts of the immune system. The coronavirus, or the COVID-19 virus, is affecting lungs. So this is a really nice spot to work with every day. You can do it a couple times a day. I went to Costco today to cash my dividend check and get toilet paper. So as I waited in line with the other seniors 10 feet apart, and when I went in, before I went in and after I came out, I did my immune system points. We'll do a couple more breaths in this point.
So if we have a small child at home,
You can do it for them.
this on their bodies for them? Okay.
You can do these on other people. The good news is the body's very intelligent. So I know when I do brain gym with kids and do this with kids, sometimes it seems like they're not even near the point, but the body's going to know what you're going for. But no, this one, and I'll show you another one that you can easily do with on somebody else or with the kids, or like with a baby or something. You can just be sitting with them and holding. And you're not pushing hard, so they don't dislike it. You know, like with kindergartners or whatever, you could actually kind of make a game of your buttons, wake up buttons in the morning, or whatever you want to call them. Okay. So now we come down our arms all the way, giving squeezes on both sides. And we are going to go to, this is the ulnar bone or the pinky side of the wrist. And you're just going to hold that spot on that side of the wrist. You can fulcrum it like this, or you can just reach around so that you get the wrist crease and the bottom side of your pinky finger. This spot is amazing, especially if you're holding the whole wrist, for panic and anxiety. It is just amazing. So go ahead and you can just, again, fulcrum with just an easy touch, like you were taking the pulse right down from the pinky finger next to the wrist, or you can just hold your whole wrist. I always was amazed when I was nursing and taking people's pulses. They would go, oh, if you waited a whole minute while you were taking their pulse. And now that I know my acupressure points, I know why. I have a big hand, and I always would basically encircle their whole wrist every time I took a pulse. I have used this on myself in panic attacks, and it works. You just do not have to sit there for a little bit. And then the other side. It doesn't matter which side you start with or end with. And if you didn't have enough time and you just did one side, you're perfectly fine. So our fingertips, if you've heard about reflexology, if acupressure, all of it, everything so much in our fingers. Our meridian pathways may begin or end in our fingertips and our toes. So at this point, you're going to take your thumb first and work all the way up your thumb to your fingernail, giving your fingernail a squeeze, and do that on each side. This is the lung meridian. And right now there's a lot of grief in the world, and there's a lot of need for inspiration. Lung, breathing deep. These are the acupressure points for grief that can turn to inspiration. So I'll just show you what I'm doing closer. I'm going up the thumb, giving it a good massage, all the way up to on either side of the nail bed, I'm giving a squeeze. And then I'm going to do that on each finger, on each side. So with your index finger, large intestine, if you're feeling stuck and you work on this finger, or you might just squeeze it hard on both sides, you become unstuck in whatever it is you're feeling stuck. I don't know if it works if you're in a pile of mud, but it works physiologically otherwise. Your middle finger, this is the pericardium. So what it means is it attaches in its route to that area that protects the heart. And I am just, so the vulnerability, which I think a lot of us are feeling very vulnerable, it can turn vulnerability and fear into more of a compassionate concern. And again, all the way up and squeezing on either side. Your ring finger, if you're feeling invaded, your space, etc. Again, emotionally, this is a protection. It just helps to feel grounded and protected. And then our pinky finger, inner and outer. So it's interesting because the inner pinky finger is anxiety and serenity, turning to serenity. The outer pinky finger is about confusion and discernment. So just hold the pinky finger, hold the whole finger, and just give it a squeeze. Take a couple deep breaths there. You know, I worked in OB and labor and delivery for 26 years and did Lamaze classes. And, you know, a lot of times a partner wasn't able to get at a person rubbing their back, doing all this other stuff. So I would always say to these partners, the support people, if you can get at the woman's foot or her hand, all the same stuff can happen. So right now, you know, I mean, I'm hoping women are able to have partners in again. I mean, the hospitals are fighting for that. They were trying to say people had to deliver alone, but they're changing that. But I mean, these are things that if you were sitting there alone at any point and you're scared, you got your hands. So, all right. The next thing we are up to is the neck stretch and brow sweep. So how this goes, I'm going to turn around and let's see. I'm going to sit and turn around. I'm going to kneel and turn around. Okay, here we go. So the next back of the neck, you're going to come up your neck, over your head, and then across your brow, across your forehead. And do that one more time. Up over your head and across your forehead, and do a brow sweep. A brow sweep. So you've washed your hands. It's okay to touch your face. Okay, so that's the brow sweep. And it is connect with your own highest wisdom. And I tell you what, I've quit watching. I allow myself only a little bit of news. And I only watch it once a day. And then I walk away. because nothing is changing drastically for me in that newscast other than I can make myself crazy. So after I have watched that, if I'm feeling crazy, I will do this. I've made it a point to do this, not just for me, but you know that drop in the water when you throw the rock in the water and it ripples out. Kids really realize this too because they love to throw rocks in the water. It ripples out, right? So if I can calm myself down after I have watched or heard something that really got me going, I have calmed myself and my own nervous system and my immune system, but I've also done that for everyone around me, and especially in these close quarters. And that old saying, it's an old saying, but I always laugh about it. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And it's like, if mom's in a wreck or dad's a wreck, doesn't matter. Kids know it. And if you think they don't know it, you're wrong. They feel you coming and going from 90 miles away. I can know on my grandchildren as soon as I meet up with them what's going on around them. This by how they act. Kids are really easy to read. So truly, you're doing it for the house, even if you're the only one sitting down and doing it. Okay, so that's the next stretch and brow sweep. Energy rush, which is also a brain gym point, which we'll come back to. Major immune system point. So your clavicle bones. Okay, so here's my neck. I go out here. Here's these bones. These are your clavicles. Okay, you're going to go right under them. There's a nice soft spot that you land in. So all these meridians, these points, acupressure points, always are sort of in the soft spot right near a bone. So that's where everything kind of runs shallow before it dives under the bone. So again, you don't have to push hard. You're using 2 or 3 fingers. You can hold perfectly still, or you can give it a little massage. If one side is a little sore or they both are sore, it means your body's really wanting this, and then just stay there a little longer. So we're gonna sit here and take about 4 or 5 good deep breaths. It's an immune system point.
All these are making me yawn.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I know.
So with every breath, allow yourself to become more calm, centered, and whole. Breathe out. So again, with kids, you can do this with them. Otherwise, their thymus is right under here. It is a total immune system lymph gland, especially with kids. It is with us 60-some-year-olds too. They just don't realize how much it is anymore. So even just tapping across it in the morning, it is kind of one of my routines every morning. Look in the mirror. How does it look? Do a little tapping, do a little massaging, and away we go. Okay, the next one is armpit to wrist. So some people can do this. I don't do that as well, but you can do it this way and hold your wrist. Or I do it this way and lean my pinky finger like into my other arm or into my chest wall. And then your fingertips are pressing under your rib cage. This is definitely, we're in the heart area, the small intestine area, and the heart and the pericardium. Triple warmer are all on the same meridian. For those of you who are interested in meridians. So may your heart guide you in all ways. May your heart guide you. Your quiet mind and your compassionate heart. 3 or 4 more breaths here. Let yourself settle. And then we come over our heart center, just with our hands over our heart. Center of the chest. May you be kind to yourself and others. May you be kind to yourself and others. And if you're doing this laying down and you fall asleep right now, you're fine. Okay, and the next one is Gate of Hope. It is a liver meridian. Some of us have an easier time finding our lower ribs than others, but your lower ribs do one of these, you know, comes from the sternum, goes down and then back to the spine. So right at the bottom. So we're right here. Another way of doing this is to just lay your hand with your thumb, the palm of your thumb sort of at the bottom of that rib, and just lay your hands across your belly. This is a very great way to hand this one, is in this position, and it really will allow that whole digestive system to relax and release also. May you be at home within yourself and trust your inner vision. May you be at home within yourself and trust that gut, that inner vision. And the next one is, if you take your hand, put your hand out wide, and my knees are all black, so it's kind of hard to see with these trousers on. But here's the bottom of my kneecap. So I'm going to take the palm of my hand and I'm going to rest it at the base of my kneecap. And then I'm going to take my thumb and come into my inner knee, right below my knee, and my pinky is on the outer, right on the outer edge of my knee. So you're going to do this on both sides. The palm of your hand is right under your kneecap. And then your thumbs are resting right below your kneecap in kind of a, well, you can feel it's sort of an indentation, kind of at the crease of where you have your knee bent. And then your pinky finger is on the outside. And again, you're just going to hold this. You might notice, especially that thumb under the thumb is a little tender. And again, if any are tender, they want your attention. Give them a little massage.
My right one.
Yeah, and at different days it could be different. So that's the part that's always amazing. May you feel stable and supported as you move forward. May you feel stable and supported as you move forward. This is on the spleen meridian, which is also an immune system. Our spleens are very busy with our immune system. So let's give this one an extra little bit. So again, 5 breaths. Really thinking about our spleen and our immune system. I always like to thank them. Thank every part of us that's part of our immune system. Every organ has a part of this. We don't think about our spleens, and they work really hard. Now we are going to the back of our knee. Once again, we were there before. Again, that little fulcrum in the back of your knee where your knee bend, that crease. I'm just going to do the whole knee. May all of your endeavors flow with grace. Might not seem that way when we're locked up at home trying to do school and work and whatever else, but I think it's a time where that flow and grace can actually kick in if we let it, at least for moments. Now, if you have bare feet, and when you're doing this with kids and little kids, this is fun. I'm just going to kick off my shoes. So you can't see my feet, but what I would be doing is reaching over and I would be squeezing each toe. Now, if you're sitting with a pair of shoes on that you had outside today, I wouldn't do that. Then what you can do is put one foot over the other foot. So I'm putting my toes, here, let me show you the line. So I'm putting my toes like this. So then I would push up with my bottom foot and push down with my top foot to give my toes a squeeze. And then I would do that on the other side. Again, if you have bare feet and you're in the house and your feet are clean, I would do each toe because it's just like the fingers. Each toe is a beginning or an ending of the meridian. So give them all a squeeze and the bottom of your foot a squeeze. And again, if you're not reaching down to do that, just really press your feet into the floor and notice what it's like when your foot is connected to the floor. So may you always know where you stand. May you always know where you stand. Now, right now with everything that's going on, that's hard to know. People are criticizing each other on Facebook. There's just so much picking on. Turn it off. Just turn it off for a while, except for this. But just, we're all in a frantic thing. So you really have to know for each and every second, where do you stand and what's right for you and your loved ones. So it might not be what the person next door is doing. Okay, so we end again with one of these neck stretches. So up and over your head from your neck, across your forehead. If you don't want to mess your hair up, just come up and then just press points. These are all wonderful points for headaches. Come across, go across the brow and come down. All right. The last one is the fingers on the top of the head. You can take your hand, if this is comfortable, and you go to your back and just sort of lay your hand right where your sacrum would be. So your hand is kind of, for a lack of a better way, you're pointing down towards your butt crack. That's where you're going to have the palm of your hand at the top. And if that's not comfortable, you can also just put your hand on your navel and just have your fingers pointing down as if they were pointing at your tailbone. No pressure, just point. And I love this. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. Our feet are on the earth, our head is out in the sky. And then we end with, like we began, just stretching down with a leg stretch.
Maybe people need this from all the sitting
Right. I mean, and that's what I do.
Non-ergonomic workstations too, you know.
Well, like Brenda said, with the non-ergonomic workstations, et cetera, this is just really good. Plus, you know, I will do this, like I've been watching certain, you know, informational, like I'm studying different things. So I'll watch something on a video or whatever, and I'll be doing this while I'm watching, you know. So, I mean, you can multitask. Okay, I think the first couple times you do it, it's nice if you do it quietly so you can really let your body know, oh, I'm paying attention. And then after that, your body goes, yep, I know what they're doing. So Brenda had asked me, and especially with my school nurse background, to share with you some of the really nice things. I worked with, I think I am an attention deficit adult, let's face it, I am. My husband and my kids would be the first ones to say, oh, yes, she is. So what I always got interested in this, and what you learn and teach is what you teach is what you end up learning the best. So I have used these skills with myself, you know, going through college as an adult with 2 kids at home, getting a bachelor's with 2 little kids at home. And I also use these skills with my own children, with kids at school, etc. And also I worked with a lot of stroke victims and concussion victims. And a lot of this works for that because it's brain gym, and it's brain, like brain, gym, GYM.org or .com. I think Brenda put it on the on her intro. And if you go there, there's like on .com, there's all sorts of learning things, like right behind me is a lot of the different movements. There's 26 movements. And Dennison created them, Paul Dennison, to open up various parts of the brain and make it easier to learn different things. So the first thing I'm going to show you is kind of the base of it all, because if you're in your fight or flight mode, you're not going to be able to learn a new skill. You just can't, okay? Because you know what? Your body isn't supposed to learn a new skill right then. It's supposed to save you. Run, jump, hide, whatever, right?
Because you can't be in growth and protection at the same time.
You can't be in growth and protection at the same time. So what we have to notice is, are we in protective mode? Are we tense? Is our brain racing? Are we reading the same thing over and over and over again? It's not going in. Did we just listen to a whole thing and we can't remember what we heard? So any of those are a sign, truly, that you are in fight or flight. You're in sympathetic nervous system mode. Adrenaline and cortisol are charging. So what we want to do is switch over to parasympathetic, which is the alert, relaxed mode. So I always explain this to kids, as we have a nervous system, it's all these like roads. And if your fight or flight is on, the red fire truck is charging up and down all those pathways, getting you ready to be stronger, run faster, hide better, hold still, etc. But we want there to be a balance. So if there's nothing to run from or hide from right now, and we want to remember a story we just heard, we want to be able to attend to something, we want to not be in irritability mode all the time with our families. What we want to do is turn on, so the blue, lovely convertible that's, you know, just going out sightseeing is driving up and down those roads. And so it might take a few seconds. It's going to take minutes. It'll take at least a minute, if not longer. If somebody is in a full panic mode, this can take 5 to 10 minutes to settle. If you're in a mild panic mode, you might have felt your shift or just know you're calm in a minute. So it's very simple, and little kids at school know this as crisscross applesauce. But what you're going to do is you're going to cross your ankles. So right now I have my ankles crossed. You're going to look down. Whichever ankle is underneath, you take your hands, thumbs down. The leg that's underneath, that's the arm that's going to go underneath. Cross over, clasp, and come up. We're going to do that one more time. My ankles are crossed, thumbs down. I'm going to put my left hand down because my left ankle's underneath. Cross, clasp, and come up. Let your shoulders settle. Now you're going to rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and I'll explain why when we're done. And what I would invite you to do for this one is to shut your eyes. Or if you don't feel as if you can shut your eyes, just look down at your feet. I'm going to time us. We're going to do this for at least a minute. You just follow your breath in and out. Let your mind again, just kind of let things flow. So you might think grocery list, but you don't start making the list. You just let it flow through. It'll be there later. When you're ready, you can put your feet flat on the floor. You're going to bring your fingertips together with your feet flat on the floor. Continue to rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Eyes closed or looking soft, focused down. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. So the first part that we did would be the part that would slow the reptilian brain, your fight or flight part of your brain, slow it down so the fire truck could quit racing, basically is what happens. And the blue car can start rolling, soft. Blood pressure goes down, heart rate goes down, stomach settles, that's what happens. And then the second part, when we did this part, the middle of your brain is your amygdala or hippocampus. You hear those words. It's the part of our brain that's where memory is stored. And memory that we're conscious of and unconscious of. So what happens is memory is where our learned stuff is. And in order to retrieve what we've learned, or in order to actually let it in to be stored, that whole area has to be working with our neocortex, the thinking part of our brain. So if somebody is really, really stressed out, and you say, well, what do you think about what happened at work? And they say, I'm just so mad. I'm just so mad. What's happened is they can't think about it. They're telling you the feeling about it. Or if you say to somebody, how do you feel about what happened at work yesterday? And all they can say is, I think blah, 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 blah. They can't access their feeling. They're going right to the, so what that tells you, or about yourself too, when that's happening to you, is that the middle of your brain and the memory learning part and the neocortex thinking part isn't opened up very well. That says I'm stressed, okay? So this whole Cook's hookup that we just did is two parts and allows the brain to, and the body to settle and then open. So there you go. Kids they sit there, they do crisscross applesauce. You can do this laying down in bed at night. You know, people oftentimes kind of go to sleep curled up like that. So what'll happen is if you can't sleep and you lay there doing this, it is just so funny. You can't make yourself not settle down. It's funny because your brain just kind of starts slowly, and then finally you'll go to sleep. Then you don't have to do this part. So it works for sleep too. It can be very helpful. Okay, so another one that you can do with this is just, again, setting your fingertips, again, washed hands, over the top of your eyebrows, just like this. I'm using my fingers to just go over the top of my eyes. And how often do you see people sitting like this when they're really thinking? This is like equal to a half-hour lunch and a good walk if you can't get it. Well, not equal to, but it works. You have acupressure points all along the top there. Incredible spot to go. Okay, so it's called attitude changing spots on the thing. Okay, another spot that's really good, and it's very much about balance. If you don't have time to do cooks, if you're like working and you're watching other things or whatever, this works really well and really fast. So it's called balance buttons. One hand on your navel, because that's the middle, the grounding of all of you. And then your other fingers are going to be behind your ear on the knobby spot, the mastoid bone. So right behind your ear, if you go back there, you're gonna find that knob. You can't miss it. And you're just gonna sit. Now this one you keep your eyes open for, because it's being able to be balanced in the world. So you're needing to take in the whole world at once and remain balanced. So what you do with this is you just remain breathing, keeping your head straight, okay, your chin straight. You're gonna look to the far side of the room. You're gonna look at something really close. You're gonna look at the ceiling, and then down at the floor. Look over to your left. Take a couple breaths looking to your left. And then look to the right, taking a couple breaths. And then we're going to switch hands, because you have two sides of your brain. We need to address both. Okay? So once again, look to the far side of the room. Look close up. And take a breath. Look up to the ceiling. And down to the floor. Look to the left. And take 2 breaths. And look to the right. And there we go. This one is also really good if you're get car sick or motion sick. Well, we can do it again in a plane, a boat, a train, a car. Okay, so that one is called balance buttons. It works really good. And this one, again, we showed you before, the immune system one. It can also be used, again, you can use a longest finger and your thumb and actually go to those points we were at before, holding your navel. And again, look up, look down, far, close, left, and right. So if you're feeling sluggish after lunch, you still have some homework or you still have some work to do and it's like, oh, I've been sitting here too long, but I got this little bit left to do. This is a really good one to just energize the brain, focus for a little longer. Okay, and let me see. Oh, thinking caps. I love these. So I am a person that needs to be in person with people to really remember what I heard or said. I do this thing when I'm on Zoom and I'm up in the corner. It's almost like I'm watching a movie and I forget I'm part of it sometimes, okay? It's just my relationship with the computer. So if I'm watching something on the computer and I want to remember it, okay? So thinking cap, these points we're going to do next, have everything to do with the inner auditory business of being able to listen, be able to think and remember. All 3 things. So some of us listen really well, we think really well, but we can't remember it. and others of a, you know, and sometimes people just have a hard time listening. So again, if you're irritable at everybody today, if you are very reactive, jumpy, if you're tense, if you're whatever, it's saying that you are overstressed out. So if that's happening, it's almost impossible to really listen, think, and remember very well. I mean, you can do it, but you just got to work so hard. So here's a trick to really make it easy. So my ear, and what I am doing is I am smoothing out the wrinkles in my ears. So if you've ever had a good massage, oh my gosh, this is lovely when they do this. But you just go ahead, you don't have to hurt your ears, but you're just going up and down your ear lobes, taking out the wrinkles. And there's just a ton of acupoints in your ears. So just go up and down at least 3 times. And now you're ready. So I thank you so much for joining us. I thank Brenda for asking me. I'm a person right now who has a clientele, but I've asked them to stay at home because I don't want to risk them. And so the other thing is this is a way that I can share this with people. And I teach a lot of my clients this. So if they're traveling, you know, kids, I still have people I meet in town that went off to college and they say, oh, Mrs. Haag, remember when you taught us this? I did that all the time in college to go to sleep or to whatever. So it's great stuff. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it works. And I remember doing this with about, the 5th grade class must have had about 60 kids. And we were in this gym, and I had a student nurse with me, and the teachers all kind of left. It was stress relief little thing we were doing. And the student nurse looked at me like, what are you going to do? And I said, just wait, this will be fine. So I had them all lay on the floor so they weren't touching. They all got in Cook's hookup, laying on the floor. They could put their sweatshirt under their head. I had them put their tongue on the roof of their mouth, because if your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, you can't be giggling. Most of them love shutting their eyes because I told them they're taking like a quick little vacation. The ones that are nervous about shutting their eyes, I just told them to look up. And within, it didn't take long. It was a very quiet room. And the student nurse just looked at me like, oh my goodness. And I said, you know, kids, bam, it just works like that because they're not as far away from it as we are. Now, they may not want to do it when you want them to. But, you know, what's fun is if you teach them the different things, they'll come back to it at different times. This one is for headaches, pain, for headaches. There's your thumb or there's your hand. Squeeze right between in that soft part. That's a pain point. It's great for headaches. I taught that to my grandson. He's so cute one day. He said, Grandma, I have a headache. We should do this. And I use it for myself all the time. I'm very lazy. Once I'm in bed at night and I don't want to get up, if I'm aching, instead of getting up and taking an Advil, I'll just do this. And then I go to sleep. So it works. So, okay, I'm done. Thank you.
All right. I'll pop back over here. So this is going to be backwards. So I'm going to put Terry's contact information and everything on this in this comment section a little bit later, and her email address and everything. But please feel free to share this video because you know, right now, like I said, we're all in these stressful times, and
Grandparents at home.
yeah, I mean, just, you know, we all know everybody's situation is just not awesome right now. And, you know, over the next couple weeks, things might get more tense. And if we can use this and all these techniques and just be more grounded and present, compassionate, and more human, you know, I mean, just having this human connection, whether it's your kids or your spouse or your neighbor or, you know, people on the internet. You know, when the world is in panic mode, bad things happen. And, you know, we always go back to those studies of when like large groups of people were doing like a meditation or something very intentional and purposeful towards raising their vibrational energy and having, you know, putting that out into the world, it makes a huge difference. And so if people just, you know, small groups of people, families can be doing this type of stuff daily, you know, I feel like it can make a big impact. So thank you again. I will let you know when we're going to be doing our next connection during quarantine, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to end this, and we'll see you soon.